You're listening to part 1 of this audiobook. Enjoy the story? Part 2 and the rest of the story are available on Patreon. Go to Patreon and search for my page to continue listening. Now, let's begin part 1. Chapter 1 Duel is equal to crossing? Douluos continent is a world where 100 flowers bloom, but it stands alone. There is no gorgeous magic here, only some superficial swordsmanship, marksmanship, and a profession called the most noble by everyone on the continent, a soul master. Martial spirit is a unique product of Douluos continent, from princes and nobles to commoners, no matter how high or low, whether it is high or low, everyone will have their own martial spirit when they awaken at the age of 6. If you have a trace of innate soul power, you can become a soul master through cultivation. If you have innate soul power of level 6 or above, then congratulations, you are a genius. Soul masters can obtain a halo-like item by hunting Douluos continent's unique creatures, soul beasts. This item is called a soul ring. The soul ring will produce the skills and soul skills that the soul beast possessed during his lifetime. The spirit rings produced by spirit beasts with 10 years of cultivation are white, those with 100 years of cultivation are yellow, those with 1,000 years of cultivation are purple, those with 10,000 years are black, 100,000 years are red, and 1,000,000 years are golden. The level of a spirit master can be judged by the number of spirit rings on his body. From 1 spirit ring to 9 spirit rings, they are called spirit masters, great spirit masters, spirit sects, spirit kings, spirit emperors, and spirit masters. Holy, Contra, titled Douluos. Although there are strong and weak soul skills, the strong can open the city wall, and the weak can only dig a hole to cultivate the land. But it is undeniable that the more a power has and the higher the level of spirit masters, the stronger the power will be, so there are many sects on Douluos continent. Among them, Wuhan Hall, Heaven Dome Empire, Star Luo Empire, Clear Sky Sect, 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Sect, and Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex clan were the most representative, because they were the 6 strongest forces on the continent. The Clear Sky Sect, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Sect, and the Landian Tyrannosaurus Rex were all sects whose main force was blood and martial arts inheritance, while the Heaven Dome Empire and the Star Luo Empire were dominated by the noble class and the royal family. But the Spirit Hall is different. This is a force established by the Angel God. The main policy of this force is to help civilians awaken for free, and to recruit civilian spirit masters to enhance their strength. After years of development, it has become the number 1 in the mainland. Power. This approach made the Heaven Dome Empire and the Star Luo Empire extremely jealous, because the Heaven Dome Empire and the Star Luo Empire were a combination of the interests of the nobles and the royal family, and their fundamental purpose was to squeeze the interests of the commoners. The Spirit Palace's approach was to dig the roots of the 2 great empires, so the 2 empires regarded the Spirit Palace as a thorn in their eyes, like a thorn in their flesh. However, due to the fact that the Spirit Hall was a force established by the Angel God, the 2 empires not only had to swallow their voices temporarily, but also separated a province-sized territory at the junction of the 2 countries, which was freely managed by the Spirit Hall. Wuhan City was the headquarters of the Wuhan Temple. It was a city built around a mountain. The most iconic building on the mountainside was the Pope's Palace, and the one on the top of the mountain was the Douluos Palace. The Pope's Hall was the residence of the supreme ruler of the Spirit Hall, the Pope, while the Douluos Hall was where all the titled Douluos who died in the entire continent could live in, and was referred to as the tomb of the titled Douluos. In the mansion to the southeast of the Pope's Hall in Wuhan City, a man with white beard and hair, a thin figure, was wearing a golden robe to look at. The old man in his 80s and 90s was anxiously walking back and forth at the door of a room, and the sounds coming from the house from time to time made him even more anxious. Behind the old man was a middle-aged man with long blonde hair and sharp eyes, who looked to be in his 40s. From their eyebrows, the 2 had similar outlines. These 2 are the current Grand Worshipper Qian Kungsun and his son Qian Zhongguang in the Spirit Hall. At this time, Qian Kungsun no longer had his usual composure and calmness, and he could only use this to relieve his anxiety. Looking at Qian Kungsun, who has been walking back and forth in front of him, Qian Zhongguang couldn't help but say, "Dad, you are making me feel a little dizzy. There are so many experienced midwives and healing soul masters in it. If you care about it, you will be messed up." Rice Ball Exploration Book. Qian Kungsun said, "My father naturally knows, but your mother hasn't been very healthy in recent years, and she's getting older, can I not worry?" Qian Zhongguang nodded. Although he looked 40 or 50 years old, he was actually over 80 years old. He was only young because of his advanced cultivation. Just as the father and son were communicating, a colorless light silently fell into the house. Wow wow wow! Master, my wife is born, it's a boy. A baby's cry came from inside the house, and the father and son looked at each other and ran in quickly. I saw a middle-aged woman lying on the bed in the room with a beautiful face, but her face was pale, sweaty, and panting. Jian Kungsun sat beside the middle-aged woman, held her soft and boneless hand in the palm of his hand, and asked with concern, "Yuner, it's been hard work for you, how is your body feeling?" The middle-aged woman Zhou Yun shook her head and said softly, "It's not hard, I just feel a little out of strength." Zhou Yun's tone was very soft and warm, but she looked a little out of breath, perhaps because of her postpartum weakness as she said, "I want to see our children," Zhou Yun said. Seeing this, the maid next to her hurriedly stepped forward and held the child in her arms in front of her. Zhou Yun looked at the child happily, and then looked at Jian Kungsun and said, "Brother Sun, look at our child, it's so cute." Kunkan asked, "These eyes and nose are like you?" Jian Zhongguang, who has been unable to speak up, can't help but say, "Parents, have you chosen your brother's name yet?" Although he suddenly had a younger brother when he was nearly 100 years old, he must have been caught off guard, but Jian Zhongguang was more joyful. Although the Thousand Clan of the Spirit Hall has a great family, but since the ancestors of the angels and gods, they have been handed down in the same line, and there are few people. Having an extra younger brother not only allows him to experience the feeling of being a big brother, but also helps to protect and promote the glory of the angel god, which is beyond his desire. Zhou Yun said, "He is a heavy character like you, so choose a character for Ling, Jian Zhongling." Thousands of descendants of the Wuhan Temple use the 16 words as their genealogy. God suppresses evil spirits, lasts forever, never ceases to shine, and seeks long distances. At this time, the happy family did not realize that the baby beside Zhou Yun had stopped crying. The baby opened his eyes and stared blankly at them with sea blue child holes. "Didn't I have a tense and exciting Yu-Gi-Oh match with Pharaoh last night? They all summoned my fists to attack, indicating that I'm about to win. As a result, there was a black. Where is this? And how did the body become so small?" Enjoying part 1 so far? This is only the beginning. Part 2 and the rest of the story are available on Patreon. Go to Patreon and search for my page to continue the story. Now, let's continue. Chapter 2: Integrity and Kindness. In the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. At this time, in the Pope's palace, a stunning woman was sitting at the stone table in the garden, watching a 3-year-old boy in the garden playing there. This boy was Jian Zhongling. That woman was not Jian Zongling's biological mother, but Luo Shuet, the wife of his elder brother Jian Zhongguang, who was also 40 years old. But the years still did not leave any traces on his face, and she looked as beautiful as a girl in her 20s. As for Jian Zongling's mother, Zhou Yun reached the end of her life 2 years ago. It is strange to say that although Jian Zhongling is only 3 years old, he is very smart and learns everything quickly. 3-year-old children have already understood things that 7 or 8-year-old children know. At this time, he was having a good time with a few maids in the garden. Seeing that although he was sweating profusely, he was still very happy. Luo Shuai looked at him and said, "Xiaoling, come here, take a break." Jian Zhongling hurried over, "Sister-in-law, I'm not tired, I want to play for a while." Luo Shuai took out a handkerchief and wiped the sweat from Jian Zongling's face, and said to him, "You can take a break and play again." The night was like water, and the Pope's palace was silent at this time. Most of the people were asleep, and only some night watchers were still walking back and forth. In Jian Zongling's room, he sat cross-legged on the bed with his legs crossed, his qi sinking into his danshan, closed his eyes and meditated, breathing in and out to gather his qi, and silently running the meditation handed down by thousands of ancestors, which is the meditation method inherited from the angels and gods. The posture is similar, but the thoughts have long since drifted to where, so Jian Zhongling did not feel any trace of soul power pouring into his body at all. Jian Zhongling, formerly known as Jian Ling, was an ordinary office worker at Blue Star who worked 9 in the morning and 6 in the evening. That's right, at first he didn't know where he had traveled to, until one day, when his sister-in-law took him to go shopping in Wuhan City, he heard an aunt shouting like this on the street. "The old lady has a big bun." Then a fragrant big bun appeared in her hand. Jian Ling naturally felt a little familiar with this scene, and he quickly recalled it. "When I was at Blue Star, I watched the movie called Douluos Mainland Novels, that novel seems to have this setting. When he was working at Blue Star, a colleague surnamed Wang recommended him a novel about Douluos. According to Lao Wang, it was a novel with extremely positive energy. It tells the story of a child who was born in poverty, learns and grows along the way, meets many like-minded friends, grows step by step, and becomes a gentleman who is upright, kind, humble, and courteous, and repays his gratitude. In the end, the gods who master order, fairness, and justice, uproot the most vicious and evil forces on the mainland, and the culprit that killed his mother, to benefit the mainland. Although the story is very old-fashioned, but because of a friend's recommendation, he naturally read it. First of all, at the beginning of the game, he secretly learned a hidden weapon sect, and many classics from the inner sect were forced to jump off a cliff, and then the soul penetrated to another world. Seeing this, Qianling was stunned, not asking if he was a thief. Isn't this kind of behavior a thief? No matter whether others forgive you or not, but your stealing is stealing, and this behavior cannot be changed. How does a thief hook up with a gentleman? With doubts, Qianling continued to look down, and soon the protagonist San Ke went to school, and then a shocking scene came. Because of their poor birth, Sonk and the village chief were dressed in shabby clothes, so the guard looked down on them and made sarcastic words. Since then, we are upright, kind, modest, and courteous, and we are ready to kill these two guards. If you don't agree with one word, it will kill you directly. Isn't this operation only done by the devil who kills people without blinking an eye? It is true that it is wrong for the guard to look down on people, but it is not a crime to die, and it will be over after a lesson. After all, you dress like a beggar, who does not stop you? After watching this scene, Qianling thought that maybe he was young and would get lost in the future, so he continued to look down. The next scene is that the first powerful king of Douluos continent, Yuzui Cannon, appeared, and with a flicker, he rescued the guard and accepted the protagonist Sankut. Sanhua was fooled for a while, so he went to apprentice. Although he cultivated the innate full soul power through Suanei Shanggong, he probably didn't know much about the world and didn't care much. After apprenticeship, Yuzui took Sankuto to hunt soul beasts at some time, preparing to get a spirit ring for Sankut. So the two went to the soul hunting forest. Blue Gourd Sword Fairy. Although Yuzui skills were good, his actual hands-on ability was utterly sloppy. He was beaten to death by a 100-year-old soul beast in the soul hunting forest, and finally killed the soul beast with 3 cuts. And the next scene, Qianling was shocked again. Sankut used a hidden weapon to kill the soul beast, but Sankut was worried that Yuzui would discover his secret, and he thought about killing Yuzui and killing him. That's right, I just want to kill Yuzui, and kill this person who Sankuo said not long ago that he is a teacher for one day and a father for the rest of his life. Good guy. In this scene, Qianling called him a good guy. This is about killing his father. How can this ruthless child become a gentleman who is upright and kind, humble and courteous, and repays his gratitude? Fortunately, Yuzui did not discover the secret of the 3 cuts, so Yuzui escaped. Time is turning, and soon Sankuo graduated from the junior college. Sankuo took his younger sister Xiao Wu, and followed Yuzui's arrangement to go to a place called Monster Academy for further studies. Here, Sankut met 5 other friends. Dai Mubai, Oscar, Ma Hongjun, Ning Rongrong, Zhu Zuking. Formed a small team of the Shrek 7 Devils. Knowing the characters and people of these 5 children through the later plot, something of Qianling has fallen to the ground. The eldest of the 7 devils, Dai Mubai, was known as the unparalleled Silver Tiger in Soto City, a time management expert. My favorite thing to do every day is to be a young model in the clubhouse, spend all the time, cause trouble and be arrogant, because I have a fight with Sankut in one room, but after all, he is the prince of the Star Luo Empire, so it is quite normal to have these hobbies. The problem is that the prince of the Star Luo Empire needs to participate in the scramble for the heir to the throne. If he fails, he will be abolished. Then, the peerless Yunhu classmate feels hopeless and has a 0 chance of winning. When one person is in a dire situation in the Star Luo Empire, at least he has to take his fiancée to run with him. Combined in this way, this unparalleled Silver Tiger deserves to be the Silver Tiger, the role model of the scum, and the role model of the Sea King. The second child of the 7 monsters, Oscar, is known as the Wretched Uncle, and he specializes in sausages. The only 2 of the 7 monsters are quite normal. The downside is that he is a bit wretched, but this is understandable. After all, who is not a gentleman? The third child of the 7 monsters, the gentleman who is called upright and kind, modesty and courteous, grateful and repaying, ice clear and jade clean by the 3-cut people, do I still need to express it? The fourth eldest of the 7 monsters, Ma Hung-jun, known as the Gulen Phoenix, is the most disgusting one among the 7. He is extremely disgusting and obscene. When he sees a pretty girl, he drools, and his heart is extremely wretched. The fifth of the 7 monsters, Xiao Wu, is actually not small at all. They are the 100,000-year-old soul beast of the Star Do Great Forest, the soft-bone rabbit, who has transformed into a humanoid, and is not even a human being. The sixth of the 7 devils, Ning Rong Rong, as the little princess of the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, she is arrogant and unreasonable, her behavior is extremely arrogant, and her arrogance is even greater than that of Dai Mubai. She is the number 1 in the 7 treasure glazed tile sect expression. She is simply a typical representative of the late stage of the princess disease, but there is nothing you can do about it. She is a real princess, and it is normal to be spoiled. However, if you are ill and willing to treat it, this little witch is relatively normal in the later stage. The youngest of the 7 monsters, Zhu Zuqing, the second young lady of the Zhu family of the Star Luo Empire, the last one was the standard of a normal person, and all she pursued was just to survive. Good character, tough if she doesn't pull it out, she can even endure what the unparalleled Silver Tiger has to do, but it doesn't mean that she has no other choice. Chapter 3 Be humble and courteous. Then, when it comes to the school motto of Shrek Academy, the problem is even bigger. The sentence that dare not cause trouble is mediocre. It is simply bragging. When I met Kanghui Academy, everyone was very arrogant. This titled Douluo is the weakest, and one by one becomes a sick cat, a typical bully in fear of hardship. Seeing this, Jianling basically gave up hope about when Sankyut could become a gentleman who was righteous and kind, modesty and courteous and reciprocated with gratitude. After all, those who are close to Zhu are red, those who are close to Ink are black, and there are only 2 normal people beside them, and the rest are strange characters. How can you change yourself? However, Jianling still watched patiently. Next, the 7 friends formed a team and participated in the Continental Elite Spirit Master competition. They passed all levels along the way, and they played very well. Of course, the complete victory along the way has cultivated their invincible self-confidence in team battles. Xiaoshuba.com. It's just that because of the opponent's reasons, Sankyuo used his second Wuhan Clear Sky Hammer, thus revealing his life experience. Seeing this, Yu Zuipeo immediately went to the most ferocious and sinful force in this world, Wuhan Hall. I went to meet the Pope of Spirit Hall, his former lover, Bibi Dong. I want to know from her mouth how to cultivate twin spirits. You have to know who the disciple of Yu Zuipeo is, San Kukuo, the son of Tang Hao, the twin martial souls Blue Silver Grass and Clear Sky Hammer, and Wuhan Temple have a mortal hatred. Once he grows up, he will definitely smash Wushu. The Soul Hall held the ashes of countless titled Douluo in the Douluo Hall. Don't these jade mouth guns know? No, he knew, but even so, Yu Zuipeo still wanted Bibi Dong to pass on the secret of the twin spirits to that San Kuyao, so that she could strengthen her opponent with her own hands. Then let him grow up, then destroy the Spirit Hall with his own hands, and raise her Bibi Dong ashes? Fortunately, Bibi Dong didn't agree to Yu Zuipeo. Yu Zuipeo returned disappointed, and told San Kuo that he didn't get the secret method, and then Yu Zuipeo's cousin Lu Erlong even thought that Bibi Dong didn't give the secret method, that he was doing it wrong, it should be given. Seeing this, Jianling has doubts about life, how shameless and hypocritical a person can be. It can only be said that these 2 are worthy of being cousins, they are a match made in heaven. This is the same as you broke up with your ex, and then you adopted a child, and this child has a grudge against your ex's family, but you don't have the money to support the baby, and then you go to your ex to ask for money. The ex is unwilling to give you money, I think she has changed. The competition continued, the academy calling itself a monster, all the way to the finals, and then, under extremely unreasonable circumstances, overthrew the representative team of the Spirit Hall and won the championship. And then, the shock started again. Due to Xiao Wu's identity being exposed, the Monster Academy was in chaos, so the 3-cut Baba, Tang Dachui, known as Rishan Douluo, who actually had a unique taste, made his debut. A big hammer, domineering side leaks, and directly took away Xiao Wu and San Kuo. Good guy, you must know that the former Pope Jian Sunji of Wuhan Hall was severely injured by Tang the hammer. And then Bibi Dong killed him with a knife. Tang Dawai is an accomplice anyway. A few worshippers above level 96 in the Douluos hall just stared blankly at Tang Dachui after he finished installing the AC, and then left in a dashing manner. Even if you, Jian Daoliu, don't get along with Bibi Dong, and the two sides keep each other in check, but the Tang sledgehammer has come to smash your house, how could you be able to hold back Jian Daoliu? Are you a teenage mutant ninja turtles? Chihiroji wants to write a miserable word on your father's thigh. Back to the plot. After being rescued by Tang Dachui, the old rabbit Xiao returned to the forest, and then Sankyut began to train with Tang Dachui, and then the other half of Sankyut's bloodline awakened. The so-called Blue-Silver Emperor bloodline. It turned out that San KK was not a pure human being, and half of his body was flowing with the blood of a soul beast. According to the martial spirit twins theory, the twin spirits must be of equal quality, so that they can inherit the spirits of both parents, otherwise they must be single spirits. Therefore, more than half of the three-cut body is the bloodline of the Blue-Silver Emperor. Don't say that after 100,000 years of soul beasts are transformed into human beings, what a bullshit. It's a human, let's make a sacrifice to see? It's a human, and it can still explode with spirit bones and spirit rings when it's dead? Therefore, a soul beast is a soul beast. A piece of grass can produce a species that is not entirely human with Tang Dazui. It can only be said that reproductive isolation in this world is not good. After the bloodline was awakened, it was like Sankyut after plastic surgery, so he naturally asked Tang Dazui, and then learned the truth of his mother's death, so Sankyut planned how to take revenge. In the ancient times, spirit beasts were rampant, eating people was commonplace, and not a single spirit beast would fight for human beings. In recent times, when humanity was prosperous, it was normal to hunt beasts to eat meat, and to remove skins and bones. Martial Soul Palace has killed his mother 3 times, and he wants to kill his wife 3 times, and he wants revenge. This is very reasonable. Is Wahandian wrong? Correct. Is the triple cut wrong? Not wrong either. Therefore, this hatred is not about position, not about race, only about hatred, but what I didn't expect is that Wuhan Temple is so deadly. First, the Spirit Master Contest attacked the contestants of the Soul Master Academy in the whole continent, and then started the soul hunting operation, destroyed the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, and crippled the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, which made the whole continent panic, and the final result was that they were attacked by a group. It's like, if Sankut wants to sleep, you give him a pillow, which is a perfect operation. Of course, maybe it was because Bibi Dong hated Qinjia extremely, and thus resented the Wuhan Temple, so she thought of letting Wuhan the temple may be destroyed. In the later plot, it made Jianling understand directly that this so-called sincere and kind, all-round development of morality, intelligence, body, beauty and labor only exists in dreams. Sankyut kills his relatives by righteousness. He will be possessed by the 9-headed Bat King and become unconscious. After Tang Chen, the great-grandfather of the incarnation of the King of Slaughter, kills him, Sankut directly blows up the capital of Slaughter. You must know that the city of Slaughter City is actually not evil. The evil is the fallen ones and even the evil soul masters. But the fall of these people has nothing to do with the killing city. On the contrary, the killing city is a place like a prison for these people. In a prison, there are many fallen people and evil soul masters trapped in it. If you blow up this prison, wouldn't the prisoners in it just take off on the spot and cause harm to the world? This kind of operation, like a good seedling of an evil giant, can actually be linked to the heir of the Shura god who is fair and just, who controls the order. This continent eats jujube pills. After talking about the so-called 3 cuts of the all-round development of morality, intelligence, physical beauty and labor, I am talking about Yuzwipeo and a few villains. Yuzwipeo, known as the theory of great wetness, there is no waste of martial arts, only waste of soul masters, it is his motto. Whether his so-called theory is right or wrong, I won't say much for now. Lu Erlong and Yuzwipeo, one of the golden triangles, have already talked about marriage, and they have gotten along with each other for at least 3 or 4 years. So here comes the question. Excuse me, it's close to this level, and Lu Erlong's spirit is a mutation of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon spirit that Yuzwipeo is most familiar with. Yuzwipeo really couldn't tell that her spirit was a mutation of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex? Yuzwipeo didn't know that Lu Erlong was his cousin until the day he married Lu Erlong? Either Yuzwipeo is a rubbish who deceives the world, or it is intentional. The purpose is to use the name of the Golden Iron Triangle to make a name for himself, so that some people can recognize his theory. Then there was the Douluos villain's bearer, Bibi Dong, who was simply unable to complain about her. Not only did she like a useless scum, she also wanted to run away with him. She has considered how much resources Wahundian has invested in her? Has she considered the impact of leaking the ancient books of the Spirit Hall? Doesn't she know that the two empires of Wahundian and Sanchangzong are hostile? She knew it all, and then she resolutely threw herself into the arms of the enemy. What is this like? Like the daughter raised by a billionaire, not only likes the son of his enemy, but the son of the enemy is similar to a beggar, which makes Chihiroji endure. Kyungsunji is also a strange person, and his brain circuits are not clear. He is still a scumbag, with a dignified god-level martial arts spirit, and he also has two titled Douluos. Why is the brain circuit unclear? You can use Wipeo to force Bibidong to give birth to a child, but can't you use Wipeo to force them not to meet? If you dare to meet, you will kill the jade mouth cannon. No matter how bad it is to drive away Wipeo, you can even imprison Bibidong. Better than what you did for her. Beating the mandarin duck with a stick, thinking about your love for raising her with one hand, at most it just hates you, it won't kill you. To put it bluntly, Kyungsunji is just greedy for her body, so lowly. Next is the second villain, Hulina. Good guy, this villain number 2, enjoys the resources of the Spirit Hall, has the best teacher to teach, and has not learned anything else, but has learned to act cute and coquettish inside. And tip off the enemy? In the final battle, Sankut was ready to let Bibidong go to the sky, but Bibidong's position with a full score, the perfect output successfully killed Sankut, but at this time Hulina still can't bear it. The operation is simply perfect. Eating in the bowl and looking at the pot, are you worthy of Bibidong who raised your Hulina as a daughter? Is it worthy of the Wuhan temple that cultivated you to become a talent? Finally, the villain number 3, Jian Sunji's daughter, Jian Rongxiu. This doll is a coffee table with cups on it. When she was born, her grandmother didn't care, and her mother didn't love her. The only one who cares for her is her grandfather. There is no way her father died early, and it was sacrificed. How bad is it? Have to. And with a heart like a valley, in the face of half of his father's enemy, he still wants to win him over? You are willing to give up hatred, and the kind and upright Sankut will be willing? Why did Sankut promise you? Because you keep 2 giant pandas that are national treasures. After showing mercy again and again, in the end, a real mother went to heaven, and his status exploded, and he permanently obtained the achievement that he could not be promoted to level 90. To sum up, in Qian Ling's eyes, Douluo is a modest gentleman with normal IQ, ruthless, kind and upright, the guardian of the mainland's order, who beat a group of villains with negative IQ and succeeded in revenge. This story doesn't need any logic, doesn't need any IQ, and it's over, so in terms of Qian Ling's picky taste at the time, it's simply forget it. Anyway, according to seniority, Jian Rongxiu's grandfather's Jian Daoliu is still a member, not to mention the secret room Douluo Jian Sunji, and I estimate that my ashes will be gone by then, so why care so much? Tuko after a long time, Jian Zhongling thought so. Chapter 4 There is no need to promote the ancestors, I will surpass the ancestors. D. It is detected that the host's Tuko value has reached the requirements, and the super sign-in system is being activated. A message suddenly poured into Jian Zhongling's mind, and after a long period of days, Jian Zhongling did not suspect that he had hallucinations. After all, the golden finger is a must for the protagonist. Young, what role do you have in the system? Jian Zhongling fantasized, starting with a Pangu axe, or a chaos bell, and if it didn't work, it would be good to have a Sanking martial spirit. Well received. Or start as a god, and later become a creation god, and go for 1,000 or 2,000 years. In the future, when the combination of sea gods and Asuras fights the Rakshasa angels at Jialingguan, they will make their debut. Then Jian Zhongling cynically smiled at San Kaixiat, with just a rotten halberd and a broken sword, how dare you hurt my junior? So he stretched out his big hand and turned it into a giant claw that covered the sky and the sun. Suddenly, blood rained from the sky, the sun and the moon were no light, the whole world collapsed, the mountains and rivers rolled back, and the heavens and the earth grieved. The giant claws that covered the sky and the sun seemed to pass through time and space, directly grabbing the sea god Asura combination. No matter how the sea god Asura combination resisted, it would be useless, and it was impossible to break free from the giant claws. In the endless despair and fear, he crushed it. In the end, he stood with his hands behind his back and turned his back to all beings. Dan said, the combination of the sea god and Shura is not bad. My mind is full of naive, my mind is full of invincible achievements. Suppressing Wang Gu's thoughts, Qian Zhongling secretly wiped his saliva. Dear host, the current system loading progress is 5.5%, and temporarily unable to answer the host's question, the system said. ddxs.com. Then how long will it take to fully load? Qian Zhongling was even more excited at this time. According to his idea, the longer the system was loaded, the stronger it would definitely be, and it would not be a big problem to have a god of creation at the start. It will take about 15 years, the system said. Okay, I understand, I'll talk about it later. Qian Zhongling nodded, very proud in his heart. Tisk tisk tisk, after 15 years of loading, the god of creation did not have to run at the beginning. Time flies, 15 years later. Wuhan City, in the Pope's Hall, a slender, handsome young man in a white attire looked at each other with a sturdy, tall and majestic middle-aged man in front of him. On. Brother, you are already 18 years old, and you still don't get married to spread branches and leaves for our thousands of families? You must know that our thousands of families have a single line, and only 2 males have been born in our generation. It is urgent to carry forward the glory of the ancestors. Qian Chongguang, who was nearly 100 years old, did not show any signs of old age, and preached to Qian Zhongling full of energy. Brother, don't think I didn't know that you got married when you were in your 80s. Qian Zhongling pointedly said. Ahem, it's because your brother and I are so old that I got married. When my dad was alive, he specially ordered me to let you get married and start a business as soon as possible. Your brother has already arranged it for you. Feng Yuan, the first daughter of the Feng family, and Feng Yuxi, the next daughter, is 15 years old and beautiful. I think you will like it. Qian Zhongguang smiled. On Douluo continent, because of the martial spirit, the body develops very early. At the age of 12, people are 1.7 meters tall, which means that they are considered adults when they are about 12. Hearing this, Qian Zhongling couldn't help but want to complain. 15 years old, he is still a minor in Blue Star. Is this asking the director to invite you for coffee? Brother, I'm not the kind of vulgar person, how could I give up my sincere love because of a pair of flowers? Qian Zhongling said with great integrity. Love or something, I'll talk about it later, you can marry first, and then slowly look for your love. Qian Zhongguang said. Brother, you don't understand, love is impossible. You must know that freedom is precious, and life is more expensive. If it's because of love, both can be thrown away. Qian Zhongling changed it a bit, and came to Blue Star's freedom and love to fool Qian Zhongguang. Freedom is precious, and life is more valuable. If it is for love, both can be thrown away. It sounds quite reasonable. Qian Zhongguang recited it a few times, and it was indeed catchy. Although he felt something was wrong, he just couldn't say it. No, don't interrupt me. Anyway, I'll leave you here today. You can't run away if you marry a wife. After thinking about it, he realized that he was surrounded by this kid again. Okay, bro, I know, I'll go to practice first. Qian Zhongling smiled, not wanting to pay attention to his brother. The system is going to be activated tonight. Young master will be the god of creation soon, and will he marry a wife to promote the glory of the ancestors of the gods? There is no need to promote the glory of the ancestors, my Qian Zhongling will surpass the ancestors. Seeing Qian Zhongling running away, Qian Zhongguang sighed helplessly, and said in his heart, this kid really doesn't make you worry, so you still practice. Do you think I'll believe you? God level martial soul seraph, innate soul power level 12, enjoying the best resources in the whole continent, and now is the 58th level soul king, you say you are cultivating? Don't be funny, your brother. When night came, a silver moon hung high, and the silver-white moonlight quietly flowed through Wuhan City, covering it with a silver veil. A man in black wearing a black tights and a mask, who can be judged to be a male from his body shape, danced gently on various buildings in Wuhan City, like a vigorous black cat, and only saw his figure. Flashing continuously, he left Wuhan City in an instant. Outside Wuhan City, the man in black unveiled his mask, and it was Qian Zhongling, who said softly, after 12 o'clock, the young master is the god of creation. The beauties on the mainland, young master coming. Qian Zhongling's figure flickered, and when he reappeared, he was already far away, but he didn't expect that all of this would be seen by the other two. As expected of the descendants of our Qian family, This practice of escaping marriage is exactly the same as I did back then. That's right, Fu. There was a smile on the corner of Jian Zongguang's mouth, an expression I was proud of for my brother. Although thousands of families have a single lineage and few people, many families are willing to become vassals of Qinjia. And Wang Fu is one of these families. Wang Fu and Qian Chongguang grew up together, so Qian Chongguang trusts him very much and generally calls him Afu. With a black line on his face, Afu complained in his heart, this is a what good to be proud of. What about the second young master's marriage? Afu suppressed his thoughts of complaining, and answered Qian Zhongguang seriously. The sisters of the Feng family are only 15 years old, so it won't be a problem if they wait a year or two. Qian Zongguang Dandan said. In addition, according to the old rules, secretly dispatch a titled Douluo to protect the second young master. Afu asked. Nature. Qian Zongguang said. The little one will make arrangements. Afu said. After Afu finished speaking, the figure gradually disappeared to arrange for Qian Zhongling to go out. Chapter 5 The System That Survives to the Finale. On the hill to the northwest of Wuhan City, Qian Zhongling raised his eyes and looked into the distance, only to see the bright moon in the sky. The night was mellow, the dark clouds drifted slowly, and the voice of the voice was faint. The system is loaded, the super sign-in system is here to serve you. The unfamiliar and familiar mechanical voice echoed in Qian Zongling's mind again. What is the use of the super sign-in system? Qian Zhongling asked. Dear host, you can get a variety of mysterious and powerful items through daily check-in, including everything. The system said. What items are there? Qian Zhongling rubbed his hands excitedly. Please host to find out by yourself, the system said. Okay, then let's sign in today. Qian Zhongling said. The sign-in was successful today. The sign-in reward is issued, and the lifespan is plus 1 year. The current total sign-in day is 1 day. The system said. As soon as the voice fell, a warm current as thin as a hair flowed into Qian Zongling's body, but Qian Zhongling did not feel it. Because at this time, his heart was bewildered. What about Pangu Axe, Chaos Bell, Ruthless Emperor, and God of Creation? Life plus 1, what is this? How is it different from what you said? Qian Zhongling wiped his eyes, and his mind was full of doubts. He had some doubts that he had hallucinations. After loading the system for 15 years, he gave this when he signed in? I checked the information given by the system again, and it was accurate, that is, the life expectancy plus 1 year, without any other rewards. But the reality is like this, the strong and invincible system directly slapped him hard. Pangu Axe? Chaos Clock? Ruthless Emperor? Creation God? Rest early at night and have a good dream, after all, there is nothing in a dream. Qian Zhongling still didn't believe in evil, and continued to ask the system, is there any novice gift package or something? The system said, in view of the successful loading of the system will specially reward the host with a novice gift package, whether to open it. Open, of course. Let's just say, how can the uncle of the system have such a pit, Pangu Axe, Chaos Bell, Ruthless Great Emperor, God of Creation, here I come. The novice gift package has been successfully opened, and you have obtained a God-level skill card X1, and the 10,000-year-old Black Mist Crow's right arm bone X1, which has been stored in the system backpack. The spirit bones of 10,000 years, Qian Zhongling did not like this thing at all, and there were many spirit bones in the Wuhan Hall's inventory. God-level skills, this is interesting. Come to a prehistoric world, 1 gas and 3 clear, or the eternal Dafa of the perfect world, the heavenly emperor fist of the world of covering the sky, etc. can take off in place. After all, these high-end atmospheres are only worthy of the title of God-level skills is not. With a hint of anticipation and a hint of nervousness, Qian Zhongling opened the system backpack and looked at the card representing the golden legend, only to see that it said God-level cooking. The bright moon was in the sky, and the silver-white moonlight shone on Qian Zongling's body, reflecting his face extremely pale. With those empty eyes and a numb expression, he went to the next door to resuscitate mysteriously and play a spectre, probably without makeup. God-level cooking. Including the spirit of the king of medicine and all the skills of Zonghua Ichiban, whether it is luminous dishes or dishes that make people eat small pills, all of them are at your fingertips. A well-deserved God-level skill, there is nothing wrong with it. With this skill, if you open a restaurant, the richest man is completely a small goal, But the problem is, in the world of Douluos continent, where the weak eat the strong, no one will give you face. The biggest possibility is to be caught in a small black house and cook a full-man banquet for you. Of course, you will be backed by thousands of martial arts halls. Naturally, no one will be caught. You must know that the son of the patriarch of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, one of the three sects in the original time and space, Uzwipeo awakened a pig, and his uncle called him a waste in person. Therefore, Qian Zhongling is very desperate. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. The system that has been loaded for so long has given this little thing. Qian Zhongling involuntarily complained, the spicy chicken system ruins my youth. It depletes my spirit and drains my talent. The system produced must be a spicy chicken. 3 days later, the unrepentant Qian Zhongling had signed in 3 times in total. The sign-in reward is issued, and the life expectancy is plus 1 year. The current accumulated sign-in is 3 days, and the 3-day sign-in gift package will be automatically opened, and you will get X1 salt. Qian Zhongling. 5 days later. The sign-in reward is issued, and the life expectancy is plus 1 year. The current accumulated sign-in is 5 days, and the 5-day sign-in gift package will be automatically opened, and you will get Chili X2. Qian Zhongling, haha. 10 days later. The sign-in reward will be issued, and the lifespan will be plus 1 year. The current accumulated sign-in is 10 days, and the 10-day sign-in gift package will be automatically opened, and the soul power will be plus 0.1 level. Qian Zhongling, awesome. Does this make me live to the end? 3 months later, next to Sunset Forest Creek. A pile of bonfires was lit by Qian Zhongling, and at the same time, a huge wild boar soul beast had been skinned and cramped by him, and placed on the never-wearing, self-cleaning barbecue. Because of the use of God-level cooking skills, and then the system sent a complete set of cooking equipment, this equipment has a special the effect is never to wear, self-cleaning. At this time, Qian Zhongling has completely lost hope in the system, but the check-in is still carried out as usual every day, and there is still a dream, in case it comes true. He knew very well that his brother secretly agreed to get out of the Spirit Hall. Otherwise, he was a 58th level Spirit King and could be conservative and have 15 titled Douluos in the Pope's Hall. Come out? Therefore, he never thought of returning to the Spirit Hall directly, and running back in such a sullen state, he would not be ashamed. No matter what, you can practice well outside, at least you can go back after you become a soul saint. While thinking this, Qian Zhongling took out various seasonings from the soul guidance device, and then rubbed it on the barbecue with a special technique, as if massaging the barbecue. Naturally, these seasonings were obtained from the unscrupulous system, and it took a month's worth of sign-in packages to open one of these things. Xiaoshooting.la. After a while, a special fragrance began to spread over the fire, and the fragrance was very strong, and the barbecue slowly turned golden yellow under the slow turning of Qian Zhongling. Looks extra attractive. Yet, it's really fragrant. Smelling the rich fragrance in the air, Qian Zhongling showed a satisfied expression on his face. I have to say, this god-level cooking skill is really fragrant. The barbecue was quickly cooked, and the hungry Qian Zhongling couldn't wait to start eating. He planned the next journey in his mind while eating. Brother keeps talking about how the evil soul master is, how it is, I have never seen it, so while improving the cultivation base, I will see if I can meet the evil soul master, see if it is not a human being, and take care of the people by the way. Just as Qian Zhongling was feasting, a crisp voice sounded from behind the big tree not far to his right. I haven't eaten anything all day and night. Can you let me eat some meat? I can give you gold soul coins. Qian Zhongling frowned and watched alertly as he walked out from behind the tree. It was a girl of about 18 or 19 years old, wearing a long green dress, with long green hair, and a green child hole. Stop, don't move, then. Qian Zhongling still had the basic precautions. He let the green skirt girl stand in place, and at the same time wrapped another piece of barbecue in a silk scarf and threw it to her. The girl hugged the barbecue and devoured it, as if she hadn't eaten for a long time. After talking to each other for a while, Qian Zhongling disarmed and learned her name, Douluos King Yu, who, like him, was dissatisfied with the marriage arranged by the family and escaped from the marriage. The two felt a sense of sympathy for each other, so they agreed to travel to the mainland together for experience. Chapter 6 Douluos King Yu. A year later, in the Heaven Do Empire, in the Great Sunset Forest, the forest is silent. In the endless green forest, the dense pine trees are like giant umbrellas supporting the sky. A little bit of sunshade. A young girl in a long green dress, carrying a boy in white on her back, swiftly traversed the woods, constantly advancing, shuttling between the woods. The young man behind the girl, whose white clothes had been stained red with blood at this time, could vaguely see the ferocious wound that could be seen deep in the bone, and he coughed loudly from time to time, making the anxious expression on the girl's face even more obvious. Suddenly a faint sound broke the silence of the forest. Ching! King you, let go. Me, the one who wants to catch, is me. The boy in white clothes stained with blood and his breath was low, suddenly stumbling and slurring his words to the girl in the long green dress. Qian Zhongling, are you wasting your energy just to talk nonsense? If you have this skill, you might as well heal yourself first. Duke Qingyu scolded Qian Zhongling unceremoniously. Not only did you not fly away directly with the angel martial spirit, but you also blocked the next blow for me. How could I abandon you? Duke Qingyu thought to herself. But don't be so, we are delaying for a while, maybe Snake Spear Douluo will kill that titled Douluo level evil soul master. Duke Qingyu said, but there was no pause under her feet, and she continued to shuttle quickly. Hearing this, Qian Zongling's face darkened. If the Snake Spear Douluo, who was secretly protecting him, could kill the evil soul master with the title of Suiyu so quickly, then it would be good. But the battle between titles is not so easy to decide the winner, not to mention that Suiyu only needs to drag the Snake Spear Douluo. A few minutes later, accompanied by a gust of wind, the three figures passed through the woods and appeared in the position where Qian Zhongling and the two had previously appeared. The leader was a middle-aged man dressed in red and holding a blood-red gourd in his hand. As soon as he appeared, he opened the stopper of the blood gourd and poured a sip into his purple-red lips. The pungent smell of blood came on coming. The second is an old man in grey clothes, who throws some unknown pieces of shriveled meat into his mouth from time to time, and finally there is a young man in black clothes with a stench all over his body. This young man is biting a piece of rotten flesh of meat. These three people are the evil soul masters, blood gourds, vultures, and carrion, all of whom are soul emperors. The blood gourd sniffed and said, these two little devils ran to the northwest. Although the smell of blood is very bad, I can still smell it. The carrion showed a smile and said, the boss of the man said he wants to live, and I really want to know how she tastes like that girl. As soon as the carrion spoke, a stench came out of his mouth, and the blood gourd and the vultures were one after another. Covered his mouth and nose. This person's martial spirit is a ghoul, and because of its influence on flesh and blood, the taste in his mouth is self-evident. The vulture said, the little girl, after you catch it, go first and then where, let her know what it's like to be a woman, so that people won't be ridiculed on Huangchuan Road. Exactly. Okay. Don't delay the important matters of Lord Suejian, we still need to continue to pursue them, don't waste time. Suihu looked at the vultures, carrion, and shakers who had not caught them yet, thinking about how to play. He shook his head and said. As soon as the voice fell, the blood gourd jumped up first, the vulture and the carrion looked at each other and jumped lightly at the same time, and the next second appeared on a branch a few meters away, and quickly set off into the depths of the sunset forest. The cause of all this started half a month ago. Qian Zhongling and Duke Qingyu traveled to the mainland together and accidentally discovered a small village. The village was full of villagers who had been drained of blood. He also discovered that a young soul master was using a blood-red longsword to slaughter villagers non-stop. After the slaughter, he inserted the longsword into the hearts of the villagers. What was even more peculiar was that the blood-red longsword seemed to be alive, sucking the blood like a straw. It was obvious that this young soul master was an evil soul master. The two who decided to kill the people hit it off and they were about to set a long line to catch big fish. The two secretly followed this young man who only had a soul cultivator and found their nest. Love reading. It was just that the result was beyond the expectations of the two of them. There was actually a titled Douluo in the evil soul master's lair. Even if the snake spear Douluo, who was secretly protecting Qian Zhongling, took action to stop him, Qian Zhongling was directly caught by another A-Soul Saint level evil soul master was seriously injured. Under the cover of Snake Spear Douluo, Duke Qingyu and Qian Zhongling took the lead to escape, but Snake Spear Douluo was stopped by Suiyu Douluo. The other evil soul masters began to hunt down Qian Zhongling and Duke Qingyu. After all, the battle between titled Douluo was not something they could interfere. Half an hour later, on the other side of the sunset forest, an old man in red holds a scarlet longsword in his hand, looking at Duke Qingyu in front of him, his feet are white, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, black. The 7 spirit rings revealed that he was a strong soul saint level. Why didn't you run away? Maybe you can still survive by jumping off that cliff. The old man in red said jokingly, looking at the 10,000-foot cliff behind Douluos. There is a cliff in the sunset forest, which is unreachable, and there are many strange rocks. Even if a spirit Douluos level powerhouse stumbles and falls into it, unless it is a spirit master of the flight department, it will be more fortunate than good. Therefore, the so-called life of the red-clothed old man is actually an abyss for the flightless Douluos and the seriously injured Qian Zhongling, and there is no doubt that they will die. Old man, I fought with you. The 3rd spirit ability, Biscale Red Poison, the 4th spirit ability, Biscale Purple Poison, and the 5th spirit ability, Biscale Black Poison. Douluos threw the Qian Zhongling behind her into the distance. She shot in anger, and instantly the martial spirit Biscale Snake completed its possession. A diamond-shaped green scale appeared between her eyebrows, and her legs transformed into a thick and long snake tail. I saw her red lips lightly open. And 3 different colors of poisonous mist intertwined and shrouded the old man in red. Merely green scale snake venom. The red-clothed old man didn't even look at it. With a wave of the scarlet long sword in his hand, a scarlet sword chi directly slashed towards the poisonous fog. The expected scene where the sword chi and the poisonous fog collided did not happen. In an instant, it was chopped to pieces by the scarlet sword energy. Pfft! After smashing the poisonous mist, the figure of the old man in red flashed, leaving an afterimage on the spot. The real body instantly appeared in front of Douluos, and the scarlet longsword in his hand pierced with lightning speed. Douluos' heart. Grumpy grumpy. Under the urging of the old man in red, the blood-drinking sword began to absorb the blood of Douluos. Feeling the energetic blood of the young girl, the old man in red showed an incomparably happy smile. But what he didn't notice was that the corner of Lonely Kingyu's mouth also showed a crazy smile. Chapter 7. The world is wrong, and so am I. Poof. This is snake venom? How is that possible? After only a few breaths, the red-clothed old man's face turned dark, and suddenly he pulled out the blood-drinking sword from Douluos' chest, and then spit out a mouthful of blood, and sat on the ground on his knees, and the mouth of blood was not bright red. It was black, stinky blood. Logically speaking, it is impossible for a mere Soul King level snake venom soul skill to harm his soul saint, but the old man in red was indeed poisoned by snake venom, and the venom was already flowing throughout his body. He looked incredulously at Douluos, who had lost a circle of body shape at this time, only to find the strange and crazy smile on the corner of her mouth. The martial spirit of the green scale snake is poisonous, and this poison is melted into the flesh and blood of the spirit master of the green scale snake. The heart is the place where the poison is the strongest. Our family calls it the green scale sky poison. Douluos covered his chest, walked to the old man in red step by step, and said out of breath. What are you going to do? Tong Kong, the old man in red shrank. He suddenly found that the soul power in the woman in front of him was all gathered in the Denshin, and her body was still madly absorbing the soul power that had not been refined by soul masters who traveled in the world. Such a huge amount of soul power was absorbed, and quickly formed a storm centered on Douluos. Seeing this, Qian Zhongling also understood what she was going to do. Almost the same for a while, the two shouted, "Stop!" But Douluos ignored Qian Zhongling and slapped it with a palm, sending Qian Zhongling's struggling body flying, and said to him in a daze, "I owe you a life, and it's time to pay you back." Then he turned around and smiled expressionlessly, "Old guy, die with me." As soon as the words fell, her body burst open. Boom! Boom! It was as if thousands of volcanoes erupted at the same time, destroying the earth, and the berserk spirit power directly formed a huge storm, uprooting the ancient trees one by one. A huge mushroom cloud, centered on Douluos, rose slowly. All of this happened in just a few breaths. Qian Zhongling was seriously injured and was slapped flying by Douluos. From such a long distance, he had no time to stop him. I can only stare at the broken green ribbon floating from a distance with dull eyes, and involuntarily reach out and grab it. Why? Incomparably sharp, mournful wailing sounds like some kind of monster sound came from Qian Zongling's mouth. At this moment, all the transmigrators, the Golden Fingers, and the descendants of the gods were all left behind by him. It is true that he is familiar with the development of the plot and has golden fingers, no matter how kind he is on the surface, but deep down he has always had a sense of superiority brought by being a traveler. No anti-theft novel network. In his eyes, after all, you people are just fictional characters living in a book, and he is real. In addition to being directly reincarnated into the most powerful Wuhan temple in the Douluo continent, he inherited the god-level Wuhan Seraph when his 6-year-old Wuhan awakened. Innate soul power and God-given soul power total 12 ranks, and he is the least a super Douluo who can achieve level 96 can be said to be stable in this life. As the most powerful group of people on the Douluo continent, the 96th level super Douluo, in short, you can do whatever you want. Not. Before he was 6 years old, he still practiced seriously. If the system tricked him, he could still have second-hand preparations. After all, after the awakening of the martial arts, you will be destined to be a superior person, or not as good as Alaska. The combination of all of these has led to his current character, not to mention arrogant, but lazy and slippery, and he can't run away at all. It's like you used to be a person who struggled for a house, a car, or even food and clothing, and one day you became the second son of the world's richest man. It's still the kind of family property that can't be fully distributed, and you need to have a few more children. The kind of family that comes to share. Then you will still be conscientious, work overtime and work hard, and continue to be a social animal? The answer is obvious, no. You will only go to enjoy life like crazy, beautiful cars, sea view villas, cruise ships, and so on. You can play how you want to play. Maybe you will go to work and experience life for a few days when you are tired of it. You will never really go to work, after all, you are the richest man in the world, still go to work? But at this moment, in his eyes, it was just an illusory world. This world slapped him fiercely, telling him in the bloodiest way that this was a real world, and that everyone was a flesh and blood existence. He told him that this was a different world from Blue Star, where there were no rules that could bind anyone, some were just Chikuakuo's strong prey, and some were just the strong taking everything and everything for the weak. Indeed, as a descendant of the thousands of Soul Hall, this status is very noble, but there are countless people who want him to die. The thorns in the flesh disappear as soon as possible. The darkness in Qian Zongling's heart surged wildly at this moment, anger, hatred, fear, despair, tyranny, remorse, and many extreme emotions madly breed. There are evil soul masters in the world, but they are more resentful of their own inaction. What? Qian Zhongling covered his forehead with one hand and let out a loud roar. The spirit seraph behind him suddenly appeared without any warning. Immediately afterwards, his golden hair was dyed a deep black from the root to the tip, and the blonde turned into black in an instant. The seraph who symbolized light and purity, the next second the breath of the whole body became violent and bloodthirsty, the wings began to fade, the golden light peeled off, and what came out was a constant gushing black liquid, covering the entire wings. There are two main reasons for the so-called martial spirit. On the one hand, it is inherited from blood, and on the other hand, it comes from the projection of one's heart, which is an external manifestation of spiritual power. If there is no interference from external forces, the individual's martial spirit is actually matched with his own personality, which is why, on the Douluo plane, there will be a mutation of the martial spirit. The figures of the blood gourd, the vulture, and the carrion who heard the explosion finally appeared in front of Qian Zhongling. Suihu looked at the figure shrouded in black mist not far away, full of tyranny and bloodthirsty aura, frowned, and muttered to himself, "What is this?" Before he finished speaking, Qian Zongling's figure turned into an afterimage, slaughtered in front of the blood gourd, spread his 5 fingers, pinched his forehead, and lifted his body in the air with the power of his 5 fingers, 1 foot off the ground. Then, pang! The skull was directly crushed. I want to see if your evil soul master's brain structure is the same as that of a normal person. I just ignored it. I haven't seen the brain structure of a normal person. Oh, you should have met, can you tell me? Vultures and carrion were indifferent, looking at the front Qian Zhongling, I saw his figure flashed, and disappeared again, leaving only a word without a trace of emotion. Then take a look at the body structure of your evil soul masters, I understand this. Chapter 8 The ancestor turned out to be a baby. Seaside resort spots in unknown worlds. A figure wearing colorful pants, lying on a sun lounger, basking in the sun lazily, this is a young man of about 25 or 6 years old. At this time, he is admiring the front with an incomparable gentleman's eyes. All kinds of balls on the beach, exclaimed in their mouths at the same time. This is a C-grade ball, this is incredible, it has an F grade. Suddenly, his expression froze, and he said incredulously, "What's the situation? Isn't this old man usually very skinny when he plays cards? How long has it been now, and he almost killed himself? No, I have to go see it, otherwise a good tragedy will turn into a comedy. You must know that I hate comedy the most." Dividing line. Douluos continent, in the sunset forest. At this time, on the edge of the cliff, it was a scene like hell, with broken hands and feet everywhere, all kinds of colorful large intestines. Clothed in white and shrouded in black mist, Qian Zhongling tilted his head and said to himself from time to time, "Your body structure is the same as that of ordinary people, but you are not human, so what species do you belong to?" Diddy. Abnormal mental fluctuations of the host were detected, and the system temporarily took over the body. An unusually rapid electronic sound resounded in Qian Zongling's mind, and the cold and mechanical electronic sound made him recover a little bit of sanity. Qian Zongling's eyes slowly closed, and then suddenly opened within a second. His eyes were filled with a dazed look. It was obvious that this was not his own consciousness. Qian Zhongling looked at the beautiful picture in front of him, and said with a smile, "You can play this kind of opening like this, Lao Qian, where is your usual intelligence? Fortunately, you remember that blackening is 3 times stronger and whitening is weak, otherwise it will really turn into a comedy." Suddenly, he felt a faint aura being pulled away from his body and conducted straight into the void. "Mummy, it turns out that I forgot to unblock him. This world was almost drained of luck. No wonder Lao Qian is so unlucky, he just slammed into the evil soul master's lair as soon as he went out." As soon as the voice fell, his right palm turned into a ball of light and shadow, and his fingers swiped in the void, quickly finishing dozens of seals. "Get it done, so that the luck will not be forcibly extracted by Douluos world, and the system will gradually fill up. Just open the shield again." Qian Zhongling finished pinching Yanju, clapped his hands, and said with a smile. Qian Zongling's predecessor, Qian Ling, came to Douluos continent. In fact, he was considered a stowaway. Usually, with the spirit of Spirit Hall shrouded in luck, the amount of Douluos world's extraction would be relatively small, so it didn't have much impact. Xiaoshooting.la. But as soon as it came out, without the protective umbrella, it was a large-scale extraction, until it was drained, and eventually died. After all, Sankut came to Douluos continent because God Azura chose him as his heir. Hey? It seems that someone from the Spirit Hall is here, so I should also go offline. Dividing line. 3 days later, the Spirit Hall, the deepest part of the Elder Hall. The current Pope of Spirit Hall, Qian Zhongguang, threw the unconscious Qian Zhongling under a tall angel statue with a black face. Fortunately, in order to prevent future generations from falling into the darkness, the ancestors left a pair of angel wings, otherwise I wouldn't know how to save you, this kid. After speaking of the thousand-fold light, the spirit of the 6-winged angel directly possessed the body, 2 purple, 5 black and 2 red, 9 spirit rings appeared on his body, and he softly shouted, "The 9th spirit ability, Angel's Light." As soon as the voice fell, a dazzling light directly shone on the pair of wings at the bottom of the angel statue. As the light shone, the feathers that were gradually formed by the rock turned into a pair of true golden wings. Qian Zhongguang made a light move, and the pair of pure white wings fell from the sky and entered Qian Zongling's body from his back. "It's up to you now." Qian Zhongguang sighed and walked out of the Elder Hall silently. The next day, Qian Zhongguang summoned all the titled Douluos in the Spirit Hall with a stern look on his face, and ordered the 2 major empires and the last 3 sects to assist, and once again made a thunderous attack to sweep away the evil spirit master forces in the entire continent, and also wanted to compensate for the possession of the blue scale snake. The solitary home of Wuhan. In this era, the Spirit Hall is a well-deserved behemoth, and a thousand-fold light alone is enough to sweep the 2 great empires and the top 3 sects, not to mention that there are 11 titled Douluos in the Spirit Hall. It's just that Qian Zhongling couldn't know that, in his sea of consciousness, there was a beautiful woman with a noble temperament, graceful and luxurious, and behind the beautiful woman there were 6 golden wings. The beautiful woman looked at Qian Zhongling, who was sitting in the corner of the sea of consciousness, with her hands tucked her knees, and the 6 jet-black Qian Zhongling behind her, said earnestly, "If it weren't for the strong blood of thousands of families in you, I really doubt that you are my descendant. After all, although it is expected that the descendants may fall into darkness, your level is much more than I expected. However, no matter what happens, the past is in the past. Whether it is a human being or a god, look forward to it. Just like me, I'm just a spiritual thought left before the ascension of the angel god, and I have been for a long time. There is no contact with the main body, and it is about to dissipate, but I still live the rest of the day. That's right, let me tell you a secret. She didn't actually marry and have children. Her descendants are the descendants she created with her own blood. Following the words of the angel's divine sense, 5 of the 6 jet black wings behind Jian Zhongling had turned golden, and 3/4 of the last black wing had turned golden, and soon all of them were transformed into original gold. At this moment, Jian Zhongling raised his numb face, and there was a hint of expression in his empty eyes. He muttered to himself, so, the ancestor is not only a talker, but also a young child. Hearing this, the angelic divine sense that was about to disappear suddenly staggered, and her figure flickered and disappeared. Unable to bear, she directly knocked Jian Zhongling a shudder, and then her figure disappeared. It was just that after the divine sense of the angel god disappeared, 2 golden wings suddenly appeared behind Jian Zhongling. At this time, his spirit became an 8-winged angel. But it wasn't over yet. Maybe the darkness in his heart was not so easy to resolve, and 8 pairs of pitch-black wings grew out of nowhere from behind him. In the end, light and darkness were at a stalemate, forming 8 golden wings on the right and 8 jet-black wings on the left. 3 days later, Qian Zhongguang came to the depths of the elder hall with a tired face, and saw his younger brother Qian Zhongling wake up. However, because Qian Zhongling did not completely abandon the darkness in his heart, he had no choice but to confine him in the depths of the elder hall. Unless he died, Qian Zhongling would never be allowed to step out of the elder hall. Qian Zhongling, who was locked up in confinement, did not resist, so he could just practice quietly here. What Qian Chongguang didn't expect was that even if he passed the divine test to improve the lifespan of his spirit ring, he had a long lifespan, and his lifespan could not be comparable to Qian Zhongling who did not take the angel and divine test. In the end, Qian Zhongguang died when he was more than 800 years old, but Qian Zhongling was still hard. Chapter 9 Changes in Spirit Hall. 1,000 years, fleeting. In Wuhan City, in the meeting hall of the Elder Hall, this quarterly meeting was held as usual, and the elders of titled Douluo and Super Douluo were all present. There is a long rectangular table in the center of the Elder Hall, and 10 seats made of white gold jade are placed beside the long table, but only 5 worshippers are currently sitting on it. Below the long rectangular table are 2 rows of white jade seats. There are about 20 seats. At this time, more than half of them are full. 15 or 6 titled Douluo level powerhouses, although hidden and undisclosed, inadvertently exuded a tyrannical aura, which involuntarily made the atmosphere in the conference hall a little awe-inspiring. At this time, 2 thin old men with white hair entered the hall one after the other. After seeing the 2 old people sitting on their seats, the conference hall was originally awe-inspiring, but now it seems a little depressed. There is no other reason. These 2 old people are the current popes of the Wuhan Hall, Jian Bufan and Dasha Jian Zhongling. It is officially started now. Second Grandpa, you will preside over this meeting. Pope Jian Bufan nodded to Jian Zhongling. bidge.com. Jian Zhongling Dandan said, bitter first and then sweet, everyone, take a look at these first. As he said that, Jian Zhongling distributed the stack of blue papers in his hand to the worshippers and elders present. The worshippers and the elders had one hand, and slowly started to read, but the more they looked, the more ugly their faces became. After about 10 minutes, these offerings and the elders were almost finished. Jian Zhongling smiled coldly and turned to look down at the offering who was sitting first on the right, second offering to Nether Moon Douluo, do you think the archives are in the top row? Second, how should the 3 deacons of Xingyu City, Zhao Yu, Zhao Zhou and Zhou Hui be handled better? Zhao Yu, Zhao Zhou, Zhou Hui and other 3 people joined the nobles of Xingyu City half a year ago to deduct the payment that the civilians deserved to build the city wall, causing dozens of people to starve to death. According to the regulations of the Spirit Hall, you should be killed. Yuyu Douluo wiped his cold sweat and said solemnly. Very well, the old man remembers that you have 2 apprentices at the Soul Saint level, and this matter is left to them. We can't move the nobles of the empire, can't we move these 3? Qian Zhonglingdan said. Yes, a big offering. Yuyu Douluo said. In Lushan City of the Star Luo Empire, Lin Fei, the person in charge of the Wuhanzi Hall, forced the local civilian soul masters to donate on the grounds that the Wuhanzi temple needs to be built. I have to say, this little guy is very good at playing. Qian Zhongling showed a smile, but the words that followed were extremely bloody. I saw him say, all these golden soul coins are returned to those civilians. As for Lin Fei, the matter will be handed over to the main hall of the spirit that Luo Tiancheng belongs to. After a pause, Qian Zhongling continued, there are still many similar things. This old man will not help you deal with them one by one, kill them when they should, and dismiss them when they should be dismissed. That's right, these people should be killed. You must kill one to set an example. The worshippers and the elders all looked furious. As titled Douluos, they spent most of their time in retreat, hoping to break through the current realm. Ordinary Douluos wanted to break through to Super Douluos, and Super Douluos wanted to go higher. One floor. Therefore, there must be dereliction of duty in the management of Spirit Hall, but what they did not expect is that it is so serious. Regarding the authenticity of these cases, the worshippers and the elders have no doubts, because the Wuhan Temple has a Shadow Hall dedicated to the big worship. Shadow Hall is divided into Dark Hall, and the Shadow Hall and the Dark Hall are responsible for intelligence and information collection, and their functions are similar to those of the Jin Yiwei during the Ming dynasty. From the spirit masters to the weaving of mats and shoes, and the people who slaughter pigs and sheep, they may all be members of the Dark Hall. The Shadow Palace is specially responsible for the pursuit and suppression of the evil soul masters to ensure that the evil soul masters will not resurface on the mainland. It's just that the indignant worshippers and elders didn't notice that one of the elders at the end of the white jade seat was slightly relieved. The bitter experience is over, then the next one is sweet. Seventh Elder, what is the current quarter's net profit for the project of Martial Spirit Airlift? Qian Zhongling looked up at the seventh elder, Baiyun Douluos. Wuhan Air Transportation is to use a motorboat for air transportation. The manufacturing materials and fuel formula of this motorboat are naturally signed by Qian Zhongling from the bad system. Even if the two major empires and the last three sects created a motorboat, but without his fuel formula, the motorboat is just a decoration, and it can't fly at all. Therefore, Qian Zhongling was not afraid of being imitated at all. Wuhan was transported by air in each city's Wuhan Temple, the main hall, the sub-hall, and the branch halls, completely monopolizing the industry. In addition to the steamboat, there are some messes, such as papermaking, glassmaking, high alcohol, etc. For this reason, Qian Zhongling also set up a special research room. In case some lost soul tool designs are obtained at that time, there is still a chance to develop them. Great offering, after deducting various costs and compensation for damage to some goods, the current quarter is a profit of 9 million gold soul coins. Baiyun Douluos said confidently. Compared with the last quarter, the increase rate is 300%. It seems that you have listened to the old man's words. Qian Zhongling said meaningfully. According to the reward system, this 20%, a total of 1.8 million gold soul coins, will be awarded to those branches with outstanding performance. As the general manager, you will be rewarded with an additional 200,000 gold soul coins. Baiyun Douluos was stunned when he heard the words, and quickly thanked Qian Zhongling, thank you for your great sacrifice. The other elders and worshippers were also slightly emotional. Although they were not short of gold soul coins, no one would dislike having too many gold soul coins. What about the soul ring hunting program, student grant program, and loan program of Wuhan Bank? Qian Zhongling continued to ask. Soul ring hunting program, if a soul master finds it difficult to obtain a soul ring, they can apply to the local martial soul branch hall and pay a certain amount of money. And the Soul Alliance will arrange for a high-level soul master to help obtain the soul ring. Soul rings of less than 100 years are unified into 500 gold soul coins, 100 to 400 years of spirit rings are 1000 gold soul coins, and 500 to 900 years of spirit rings are 3000 gold soul coins. The 1000-year spirit ring is based on a unit of 1000 years and 5000 gold spirit coins. The 10,000-year spirit ring is based on 10,000 years and 50,000 gold spirit coins, and so on, capped at 50,000 years. Scholarship Program. Civilian soul masters can apply for a scholarship with the certificate issued by Wuhan Hall. There are 3 opportunities to apply for an interest-free loan, which can be repaid in 5 years. Those below the 10th level can apply for 1000 gold soul coins, those below the 20th level can apply for 2000 gold soul coins, and those below the 30th level can apply for 5000 gold soul coins. Loan Program. This program rejects applications from commoners and low-level soul masters, and only applies to soul masters above the soul king or nobles. The big offering, the spirit ring hunting program and the scholarship program complement each other, and it has made many low-level spirit masters go through a difficult period. Many low-level spirit masters basically handle this business, so the development is quite good. It's just that in terms of loan projects, because the review requirements are relatively high, so. Do you need to relax some review conditions for the big offering? Asked the sixth elder, Dark Cloud Douluos. Chapter 10. It's you who are pitted. You can relax a bit. Spirit masters still use the same review method, nobles. Qian Zhongling thought for a while and continued. It depends on his reputation. If he has a good reputation, it remains the same. If he has a bad reputation, the review conditions can be relaxed as much as possible, but the interest rate will be higher. It depends on your own operation. Those who can cultivate to the title Douluos are all elites. How can they not know what Qian Zongling's original intention is, but this is one who is willing to fight and the other who is willing to suffer? Yes. Dark Cloud Douluos said. Next, Wuhan newspapers and many departments of the Wuhan forging department began to report the situation one by one, and it took about an hour to complete the report. I feel that the golden soul coins are coming a bit slowly. Let's see how this proposal goes. Qian Zhongling took out the second document. After the elders took over, they looked at the documents in their hands with disbelief and spoke out against Qian Zongling's proposal. Great offering, absolutely impossible. I'm afraid this move will anger many forces on the mainland. Yes, please think twice about the big offering. There is only one line on the document. Non-common soul masters and spirit masters of the Wuhan Palace must pay 30 gold soul coins per person to enter the soul hunting forest to which the Wuhan Palace belongs. Nowadays, most of the soul hunting forests in the whole continent belong to the Spirit Hall. Once they cannot enter the soul hunting forest, most low-level soul masters can only go to the extremely dangerous Star Do Great Forest. But if you let a 10 or 20 level spirit master go to the Great Star Do Forest, even if someone protects you, it is courting death. Even if high-level spirit masters are sent to protect low-level spirit masters from going to those dangerous areas to obtain spirit rings, the mortality rate is still extremely high, which will inevitably consume the power of the two great empires and sects. Therefore, once this policy is introduced, it will inevitably be opposed by the two great empires and the three upper sects, and will even go directly to the Spirit Hall to seek an explanation. But what Qian Zhongling wants is this result. The current Pope Qian Bufan is a bit poor in talent. This year is 150 years old, and the current cultivation base is only 95, so there is basically no room for improvement. The worship of this generation of worship halls is not high, the highest is only 96th level, so what Qian Zhongling has to do is to use the blood of the two great empires and the last three titled Douluos. Qian Bufan is the grandson of Qian Zongling's elder brother Qian Zhongguang. Although Qian Zhongguang married at the age of 80, he didn't give birth until he was over 700 years old. The age of his spirit ring was increased through the divine test, and married the nth room son. All the elders and worshippers are opposed to the seat's proposal. Only Silver Wolf Douluos, you have no objection, can you tell me why? Qian Zhongling directly changed the subject and shifted the focus to the elder at the end of the white jade seat. Superior. By the way, I also heard that you were a title Douluos who achieved your achievements 5 months ago, and you will take a concubine every other month to celebrate. Why haven't I heard the news that Elder Silver Wolf continues to take concubines in the past few months? Qian Zhongling asked with a smile. An inexplicable heart season, like a poisonous snake, entangled in Elder Silver Wolf's heart. He explained in a panic, in the next year, I will be too old and I will not be able to do what I want. I need to think about my body. Oh, is it because you are powerless, you need to think about your body, or your 8th and 9th rooms were robbed halfway? Qian Zongling's eyes were slightly stunned, and he said with a smile. The Silver Wolf elder was startled, blurted out involuntarily, and said in horror, how do you? Haha, because people are robbed of this seat. Qian Zhongling put away his smiling appearance, and a terrifying killing intent radiated from his seemingly old body, and said coldly to Elder Silver Wolf, to take a woman from a good family as a concubine, those who do not obey will slaughter their family members. One of the top 10 tortures in Spirit Hall, Silver Wolf, do you choose one? As soon as these words came out, everyone in the Elder Hall was extremely shocked. They never thought that the Silver Wolf, who was a colleague, would be so despicable. Silver Wolf, you are so daring. I am ashamed to be in your company. Silver Wolf, you deserve to die. All the elders and the worshippers made accusations, especially some elders who were more familiar with the Silver Wolf, and they were even more angry. Humph, I joined the Spirit Hall for power and status. It's just a mere few civilians. Can I compare with this titled Douluos? Seeing that the matter was exposed, Yun Lang was no longer covering up his true colors, his eyes were fierce, and he said extremely ferociously, also titled Douluos, you may not be able to kill me. The atmosphere on the field suddenly became quiet. The elders and the titles looked at me and I looked at you. They all had a look of wanting to laugh but holding back their laughter. They moved their steps to leave a space. Come on, Mr. Silver Wolf Douluos, please start your performance. Qian Zhongling laughed outright, he never expected to see such a silly titled Douluos. Silver Wolf Real Body. The 9th Soul Skill, Silver Wolf Cannon. Silver Wolf didn't hesitate, and directly opened his martial soul avatar. His body was yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, black, and black, with 9 spirit rings floating up and down. Judging from his aura, Silver Wolf was probably around level 91. After opening the Wuhan avatar, the Silver Wolf turned into a half-werewolf with silvery white fur and sharp canine teeth. The large mouth full of fangs opened slightly, and the air was condensed in it, and a silvery white beam of light emerged from the mouth. Erupted. Yuan Library. The silver white beam of light ripped apart the air, leaving waves in the air, before reaching Qian Zhongling in the blink of an eye. Qian Zhongling shook his head slightly, and pressed his white palm on the silver white beam of light. Under the shocked expression of Silver Wolf, his fingers tightened, and Kaka smashed it into pieces. One hand blocked my full blow, how is this possible? Qian Zhongling ignored the horror of Silver Wolf, only to see that he took out a whip exuding blue thunder light from the soul tool, and as Qian Zhongling waved, the whip fell like raindrops. Snapped. 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 With just the first blow, Silver Wolf's spirit avatar was directly broken, and as the whip shadow fell, Silver Wolf was even more whipped and rolled on the ground. The screams echoed in the Elders' Hall, and it was not until the screams of the Silver Wolf became smaller and smaller that Qian Zhongling took the whip back. At this time, the Silver Wolf was already covered in bruises and blood, and was dying. Come here, drag it down. Qian Zhongling instructed the temple guards who had been waiting for a long time to put the Silver Wolf in prison and wait for the execution. Half an hour later, after the temple guards cleaned up the conference hall, the conference continued, but Qian Zhongling didn't want to waste any more time. I saw him say, they're all adults, and I don't want to say anything more. The same sentence, how much profit do you have the ability to get from the nobles of the empire, that is your ability, and this seat will never interfere. But if you reach out to the common people and common soul masters, don't blame the ruthlessness of this servant. The reason why Qian Zhongling treated commoners and commoner soul masters too much was simply because the foundation of the spirit hall was the common people and soul masters who believed in angel gods. The source of all this is just for profit. Because even a towering skyscraper needs a foundation. Without a foundation, it is a castle in the air that may collapse at any time. As for the matter of soul hunting forest, that's it. If there is any problem, I will handle it myself. Dismiss. Yes. Many elders said in unison. You've reached the end of part 1. Want to know what happens next? Part 2 and the rest of the story are available on Patreon. Go to Patreon and search for my page to continue listening. Join Patreon and continue the story from part 2. Thank you for listening and supporting the channel.